This video has been brought to you by Squarespace, the website builders.
Uma bola de cristal vi o futuro transformar e o que era bom ficou legal. Passarinho da montanha quando chega voou, voou. Passarinho da montanha quando chega voou, voou.
Welcome back to Cladfest. In this video we're going to be trying to get this corrugated steel to bend round perfectly so it complements the original round corner that gives round corner its name, the brick round corner below. Now in the last couple of videos we've got all the insulation put on the outside, we've got the battens up nice and level on this wonky wall, and it's time to put this niggly naggly awkward bit on, which could go one of two ways, which will probably go the wrong way, but regardless we're going to have to try and put it on. We've got some curves to do, awkward cuts to do, which we've got touched on in the last one. Try and squeeze it into the C channel, which is going to be also awkward. It's not designed for this job, but we're going to give it a crack. So we'll have to get on with it. When doing the roof a few years ago, we slightly mismeasured, so it's a case of taking things apart, and this is getting the fascia boards off, which is essentially laminated with metal, agricultural metal really, to reduce any sort of maintenance, and it's over plywood, and you can see there water's been getting in on the left hand side, so that's something to solve, which will be solved when doing the cladding. Underneath there's some boards which are almost like floorboards covering up, going under the eaves at an angle. We got those taken off, cut some new fascias down, cut the end off where the water's been getting in there, and that's the reason, is because it's been running down the barge board and sort of sneaking along the plywood. Note to self, cutting metal with a fast spinny thing makes little bits fly towards your eye at a very fast trajectory. We've taken the roof apart a bit in the eaves so that we can extend the soffit further that way so it can meet up, because this is too short, which is a little bit of poor planning. Yeah. So we've just got to cut these back. It's been a bit of a pain to take apart really, because it was screwed above again. I didn't know that I was going to be taking it off in a few years, but that's how it is. It all started going back together again nicely. It never feels good undoing things that you've done, especially when you've been doing them thinking it's been a permanent change, it's an addition, but that's just by the by. It has to be done. And once that was on, we could get one of my favourite things of the whole building put back together, which was the gutters. I love those gutters. I could wax lyrical about them all day, and I don't know why in this country we don't use metal gutters more. They last way longer than PVC, they look a million times better, and I just think that we should all be using metal gutters. Just trying to figure out how these curve round, so the soffit underneath is going to curve up, and then the corrugated steel is going to curve round. This is this round corner here, how that goes round like that, so we're trying to kind of find a fit that goes with this corner for it to curve around and slope up. I don't think that made a huge amount of sense, but I'll try and elaborate. The curve that I've just cut through there is the line in the brickwork. That's kind of what I think is the natural curve, and we want to have the curve in our metalwork to marry up to that, to complement it, and we made this plywood former so that we could use the same metal as in the eaves to meet up to the inside of the corrugated steel. I know this sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, but it will make sense. And here I'm using a load of insulation, which is which is loft roll instead of the rigid mineral wool insulation, just so that the loft roll can expand and fill up that rounded corner. I'm not enjoying this very considered approach. I prefer the gung-ho, shove it with glue, then go, oh bugger!
Should have cut that off.
Yeah, and then you get glue onto the circular saw, onto your hands, and onto your clothing ideally.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, that's true. So now we've got a curve which we can laminate our flat sheet metal onto. We can glue it onto that now, and we're going to have a nice finish to meet up with the brick, which will be a similar sort of a stark contrast as with the black corrugated sheet. And I'm laminating it with metal instead of painting it because it's longer lasting. It's also gives, like I said before, that nice contrast. And you could use PVC, but it's not going to last very long, and I don't think we should really be using it as much as we do. It kind of looks like buildings are suffocating with the amount of PVC stuff that's on them. PVC barge boards, PVC windows, PVC gutters, drains, all that sort of jazz. And even bits of roofing trim and stuff are PVC, which it's just, it just gets a bit much. Anyway, Rich is recessing this in for the brackets that I made at the beginning of this video, so that meets up there, so that the battens have got a nice clean line going over it, so the sheets aren't going to step off or do anything weird. And then we got those screwed on, and we were starting to get to a point with cutting bits of sheet metal. Right.
Sounds good.
That's a surprisingly good cut. This metal isn't anything fancy, it's what people use for agricultural or commercial buildings for barge boards, and it's, I think, quite a cheap way of making something look a bit fancier than it is really, if it's put on well. And that's what I'm kind of hoping is going to happen anyway. I think we're good at that. I think I might grab my drill.
Can't hack the noise.
I do fear I'm being a little bit too opinionated in this video, but I'm going to make another sweeping statement that may result in death threats. And here we go. I don't like impact drivers, and quite frankly, I don't think they should exist. I don't feel like you can get a very good feel for how tight screws are, and they're really noisy. They make a horrible noise, and they just disrupt the peace of a work site. So there we go, I've said it. Pretty slow that. Could go from small to lots. I'm very pleased to report that I'm building a website, and it's going to be my own little piece of the internet. It'll be called Round Corner, and I'm using Squarespace's website builder to do that. And they're taking the hard work out of it, because I'm sure, like yourself, I want a really nice, professional, clean looking website, and it's quite hard to do that when you've got a cat coming up and jumping up. It's quite hard to do that, and it's intimidating to do. So if you would like to have a professional looking, clean website, then just use my code, which is in the description, and Squarespace will help you build a website too, if you don't already have one.
Right.
How's that? It should just suck in. This is attempt one at putting a corrugated sheet onto Round Corner. It's been such a long time coming this. It's been maybe a few years in the making as cladding the side of this building. It was part of the original project when re-roofing Round Corner. So it just feels so good to actually be getting something on there. Now, I wasn't happy with the curve of it, so we ended up doing another cut, but that's fine. And if you remember, in the last video we had the problem of how to cut these. Well, the nibbler that I'm using leaves a rough edge. I wanted it to be perfect because it's going to be on show. And I put out a plea for help on Instagram and on YouTube, and people were very kind and got back and said, a whole manner of things. And someone suggested an orbital sander, which I thought, a sander? Yes, well, the belt sander is perfect. It's really aggressive, takes a load of material off. So get a good cut done with the nibbler and then sand it back seems to be the key, and that leaves a really nice sharp edge once all of the sanded thin bits have come off. So yeah, that's the way to do it.
So you're going to feed your liquid.
So if we lift up, and then if you bring your end round to me,
Yeah.
so you can pull that left, so it's like opening a book sort of thing. Slot that in. Right, okay. Slotted.
Yeah.
Well, that's slotted in.
You bring it up to height.
And then
How are you doing for height there and everything?
spot on there.
Yeah. Bobby does now.
Bobby D. I suppose what. Hey, it's not far enough.
Anywhere near the lines.
We're at 2 mil off. Right, the sheets are going on, and we've got up to this point where there's another sheet going here, so we're going to have to cut it out, and then we've got this sill here. So this sheet of metal is going to sit there, and in theory, water, we've just put a planed lip on there, so water's going to run off here, and there's going to be a bead of silicone in there, and that's going to be where all the water runs off onto, and the piece of corrugated steel that goes over the top of this is just going to be like, it's going to be faux. It's just going to be for show, just to have a bit of continuity. But yeah, it's going on and it's looking good. It's quite exciting. So we just need to make sure that these cuts are perfect, so that we don't waste a load of sheets, I suppose. And that's all screwed in. That's all taped up the sides here, and it's a really nice snug fit. This is the aluminium door going in, and as a few chaffinch-eyed viewers commented, the hoist on the front of the building that I made quite a while ago now, it can no longer be used for carrying things in and out of the building because there's a wooden window in the way. So this is a little bit of a safety net in case something big needs to be brought into the building. And the reason why we can't use the stairs is because someone's put a blooming spiral staircase there, and they are hopeless for bringing things in and out of. Wait, that's quite a clean cut.
That's a lovely cut, yeah.
The metal blade track saw combination worked beautifully, but it did send lots of tiny fragments of very hot metal flying to your face, to your hands, and just burning everything in its path. So it was a pretty disgusting job to do. Oh, thank God.
Some serious metal work.
Yeah. On both sides of the door, we put the C channels running up so that, again, the corrugated steel could go into it and it could clasp it and hold it tight. And then put some sealant on to the bottom and to the side of the C channels just to stop any penetrating rain from running past. I don't really like relying on a silicone seal, but it's more of an obstacle for the rain to get past. Out of the two openings, this one is the easiest to do because we're just putting the sheet straight up to it pretty much onto the C channel, whereas the window, which is still to do, is going to involve curving the sheets into it, which is going to be really tricky. We've got the whole curve problem again, so we've got that to look forward to. But we've still got to be careful here because any slight deflection in the line with this uniform material, it just sticks out like a sore thumb. So none of it, to me, I don't think is easy. But I suppose if it's hard to do, it's probably going to be more rewarding, so there is a silver lining to this caveat. This is the triple glazed unit to go into the door, and I can safely say I've never glazed an aluminium door before. It needed some packers putting in the corners, and then pushing in, and then a seal putting round, and some aluminium trims putting in. And that's it. Happy days. I tried to put this seal in using some soapy water, but I thought I'll just do it later once I've got a bit more time. We've put it in the right way around, which is a relief. Again, the plan here, going with the rounded corner theme, is to curve the corrugated steel around this corner too. Normally what you do is you get some sheet metal, bend a 90, and that would cover up where the corrugated steel sheets meet on each side of the 90-degree corner. So making life slightly difficult, but I think it's going to be worth it, and it just ties everything in together and goes with the theme of the project. Nice rounded corners and simplicity, hopefully. I've never trusted her, Joseph. Like, you would honestly just think that she's having your life, wouldn't you? If she comes back pregnant,
Yeah.
and then she's come out with a wild like, oh, he's the son of Christ.
Pull the other one.
Yeah, alright Mary.
You've been on that mead again.
It's all got Bruce arms, he's hanging about with Phil. Is that still going? Could have been leaving that a bit longer, but never mind. Cheers. Don't think it's worth faffing around with.
We've got a bit of an OnlyFans clip on here at the moment.
Oh no. Is it hanging out again?
Somebody's just passed out.
If I fall off and die, you look after the gig.
Yeah, for a bit.
That's yeah, that'll get it right. There she is.
Found it.
That's the wall.
I'm in.
Send her.
Ooh, we're a bit closer, aren't we?
Closer than further away.
Yeah.
In for Christmas. Well, you are in for Christmas.
Yeah. I was in for 2 Christmas. I've been here 2 Christmas. This will be my third. We are getting there slowly but surely. I know these videos aren't as regular as they should be, and I underestimate things, but we will get there. If I do think about that first Christmas I spent at Round Corner, it was wet, cold, damp, grotty. It's worse than camping in a tent, I would say, because it was, there was the muck and the dust to deal with. And if I think to back then and to where it's got now, it really is coming on, so yeah, just bear with me. Well, look at this. Look at this. We've got a door, an old door that's in the dry that we can use as a blind, which is, it's never been as dry in its life, I don't think. It's completely protected from the elements. It's an original part of the building which is protected, which is fantastic. And then we've got a triple glazed window out here, which is going to keep it super toasty and warm. And I just love that when you shut that, it hides all of that new stuff. And then we've got this nice old original wall that's insulated. It's adding thermal mass to the building, and it's bringing something old into the future with us, which is so cool, I think. And we've got a round corner which is going to complement the round corner down there, so I'm really pleased with how it's going. We've got more work to do, and that's going to be coming up in the upcoming videos. I've got a little bit behind with editing, so I'm going to get on the ball with that. So thanks very much for watching. Ciao for now.